much for tuning into Morning Live. Now, former President Jacob Zuma will finally get the opportunity to tell his side of the story at the State Capture Commission of Inquiry today. And Zuma has been implicated by several witnesses who've already testified. And his name has also cropped up when issues relating to the Gupta family arose. And joining us now from our studio in Polokwane in Limpopo is political analyst Elvis Masoga. Thanks so much for speaking to us this morning.
Thanks and good morning to you, Sakin, and all the viewers of SABC News.
Elvis, let's start here with regard to Zuma and him being implicated by several witnesses. Has there been sufficient evidence for a direct implication whereby Zuma has, at this stage, given what everybody else has testified about, a case to answer? Do we have that sort of clear-cut scenario at this stage?
What we can say, Sakin, is that there's been substantive tons of accusations and allegations that were leveled against former President Jacob Zuma during his 9-year tenure as President of the Republic. But I think as South Africans, we need to be thankful of this process unfolding, at the State Capture Commission, because that's where the former president will have to come and clarify and even adduce evidence to disregard or even dispute whatever allegations that were leveled against him. Because what we know as South Africans is that indeed tons of allegations were made against the former president, but now it's a moment for him to prove or disprove all those allegations against him.
Well, is it that? Because I'm reminded on about Friday, the judgment handed down in the Duduzane Zuma case, where the judge was very clear that the onus was on the state to prove the allegations that they had made. So how much of the emphasis is on Zuma and his ability to have to disprove what has been alleged?
Whenever you are requested or subpoenaed to appear before a judicial commission of inquiry, it is also your constitutional and legal responsibility to can adduce whatever evidence, be it documentary or otherwise, that might assist you in clearing your name with regard to the questions or allegations that are leveled against you. So even with regard to Jacob Zuma, as Sakina, we need to understand that if he has got evidence to can dispute all those allegations that are leveled against him, he is legally free to can adduce that kind of evidence.
So let's talk about what's likely to unfold at the commission today. And already we are seeing that there is likely to be an approach by Zuma's legal team to address the commission on what they feel is the unfair way in which this process has unfolded, the manner in which Jacob Zuma has come to testify before this commission. So are there any legal grounds, as far as you know, that could stop the former president from testifying at the commission?
I think, Sakina, it will be unwise and misguided on the part of any person to seek to argue that the decision to require Jacob Zuma to come and appear before the State Capture Commission is unfair. I think it will be unwise for any person to consider this process as unfair, because here we are talking about a former state president, a former head of a republic who was implicated in a litany of allegations against his own state. Because when you talk about state capture, we are talking about a very serious and grave robbery against your own state. So there is no way we can say former President Jacob Zuma must not appear before the commission. He must. He was a former state president. He was the one appointing all the ministers. He was the one responsible to safeguard the economic well-being of our country. So I think it was 100% correct for the State Capture Commission to decide to request Mr. Jacob Zuma to come and answer to all the allegations that are leveled against him. Because we are not talking about a lower level councillor or mayor here. We are talking about a former head of state, a president of a country that is comprised of more than 57 million people, then it is fair for him to come and account. We want to hear his side of the story, and I think it will benefit our democracy.
Fair enough, but his team isn't arguing that he shouldn't answer to those allegations. They are basically saying that it should be procedural. How he gets there and how he is treated should be procedural, and they are questioning that. So what do you make of that? Because this commission has previously already hit the skids a few times where people have complained that they were not informed, that they would be implicated, etc. So do you think that that is a valid argument, that the commission should proceed procedurally?
You know, Sakina, in an academic discipline of legal jurisprudence, there is a timeless concept we call audi alteram partem principle. In a simple language, it translates as the other side of the story principle. Be it a civil case or a criminal case, all the parties affected in that particular case have got the right to state their case. Because we can't say it is enough to judge Jacob Zuma on the basis of the allegations and accusations against him. That will not be enough. Jacob Zuma, no matter how much he has been implicated, he still enjoys a right to come and present his side of the story. So anybody trying to argue otherwise, I think he's not aware of how legal jurisprudence operates. Any person, even the most dangerous terrorist on earth, whenever he can be arrested, he still has got the right to state his side of the story. That's how jurisprudence operates.
So, of course, the former president implicated in the testimonies of various others, Fikile Mbalula, Minister Pravin Gordhan, Minister Nhlanhla Nene, etc. But Jacob Zuma has often stated that this commission is designed on nefarious political agendas. What do you make of that?
No, I think it will be maliciously disingenuous on the part of any person, even be it the president, to argue that, this state capture commission is based on malicious intentions. There is nothing political about this state capture commission because South Africa has lost billions of rands as a result of state capture. Because like we said, state capture was a ferocious criminal a robbery against the state. Many people have lost their jobs as a result of, the losses that we incur as a nation because of the state capture. So there is no way we can say a former president who was presiding over the state capture era must be excluded from the state capture commission. One thing that I support is that let's afford any person implicated a right to state his or her side of the story, including Jacob Zuma. We can't exempt Jacob Zuma from the rule of law. Whether you are a former president or a former prime minister, we are equal before the law. Zuma must come and answer to those questions. Where he can adduce evidence to the contrary, he's legally free to can do that.
So just a final question, Mr. Masoga, do you believe that we will learn anything new from former President Jacob Zuma's testimony at the State Capture Commission today?
No, absolutely. And what I like about this process is that the State Capture Commission proceedings have got the status of a court proceedings. Every witness is sworn into oath or solemn affirmation. So Zuma will not have any possibility to can play duck and dive in games. Here is a judicial commission of inquiry. Questions will be posed directly to him and the lawyers will demand direct answers. So duck and diving games are gone and over. And that's what I like about this process. We are going to hear what Zuma thinks about all the allegations that were leveled against him.
Well, let's leave it there. Thank you so much to Elvis Masoga, political analyst there, talking to us about the appearance of former President Jacob Zuma before the State Capture Commission of Inquiry this morning. And of course, we'll be crossing to our reporter Mzwandile Mbeje throughout the morning and also taking your views as per our question of the day on what you expect to come through from the former president's appearance at the commission. So let us know at Morning Live SABC. For now, though, 7 o'clock, time for the latest news with Leanne.